Reggio dudes. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Two Reggio Dudes. I'm Scott Gross.
I'm Grant Troutman.
And here we go.
Woo!
Yeah, have you missed us? It's been a couple of weeks. Sorry about that.
We do apologize. I have missed us.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's nice to be back in the headphones and
That's right. Back in the studio.
yeah.
Back in the lab.
That's right.
That's what we'll call it.
And I think we're going to make something pretty cool today.
I think so too. Yeah, it's been a very interesting last couple of weeks. Just a lot of synapses being connected and growing and being connected, and a lot of electrons firing.
That's life at its best.
It is for sure. And for our 22nd episode, we thought we'd talk about this concept. Are you ready to get into it? Just do it. Let's go to it. Okay. Well, I learned of this book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield through the Joe Rogan Experience, through his podcast. He mentioned it in passing, and whenever I hear him mention a book, I'll just stop what I'm doing, just write it down on my phone or look it up on Audible or whatever.
Yeah. And
I went ahead and downloaded this book, and it's only like 2.5 hours long. It's really short. I've listened to it at least 6 times now. And it's made a huge impact on my life.
It's so awesome.
Because he talks about this concept of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about resistance as being this unseen force that is trying to sandbag us at every turn.
Yeah.
And it's sneaky, and it's deceptive, and it's just evil all around. And being able to identify resistance, and in a way he kind of personifies it in the book, but like by those adjectives I just used. But it's extremely powerful when you can see that like resistance is kicking your ass.
Yeah.
Being like, maybe it's it's whatever's keeping you. It's this unseen force that's keeping you from doing your work.
Yeah.
Your life's work, whatever it is that you're uniquely put on this planet for.
Yeah.
And we all know it. We all have that little voice in our head that says, I'd rather be, helping pygmies in Africa and building wells for them with Fight for the Forgotten, right?
Right.
It's what's stopping you? Why is that, what is it?
Right.
It's resistance.
Right.
And why are you letting it kick your ass?
Right.
And it's crazy because in reflecting, I've been like, God damn, I let resistance kick my ass for like the last 20 years, maybe even longer. I took the easy way. Not so much in education.
Yeah.
Like professionalism wise, like when I decided to go back to grad school, I was like, well, I'm going for special ed. I'm going for autism. Like this is this semi quote unquote new hot thing.
Right.
13 years ago, and it was not easy.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, making that switch, because I was originally for grad school I was like emotional behavior disorders, EBD. What else was it? EBD, ADHD, kind of like the that kind of population.
Yeah.
But then when I found out about the autism program, I was like, oh, because I was working with a kid on the spectrum at the time. And I was like, he's just fascinating. And
yeah.
So I made that change, which, had to fight against a little bit of resistance because it was an academic change, and, there's credits that might not transfer over and whatever.
Right.
But otherwise, I was thinking like personal life.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of resistance that I've just given into.
Yeah.
And that's, has been unhealthy.
Yeah.
But resistance and children, the Reggio classroom.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, no, I mean, 20 years you've been letting resistance kick your ass. I think you're being too hard on yourself. 100% of the last 20 years you weren't being, steamrolled by resistance.
Right.
Some of the time, I understand what you're saying. So,
Right.
but give yourself credit. I mean, you're a great dad. You did great things with kids. Like,
There's that. Yeah.
but resistance is always out there, and Katie and I were talking about this, like the importance of deciphering what kind of resistance it is. And if it's internal resistance or if it's external resistance, if it's like you had a goal, with school, like you had a focus. So this was something that you wanted, that you had, whatever resistance there was, you created, right? So you had to figure out how to get through that, the path of least resistance to get to your goal. But sometimes we face resistance that's like external, that's other people trying to do things to us or prohibit our forward progress or something like that, whether it's professional or personal.
Right.
And it's really, really hard to find that line sometimes and know how to engage resistance. But making that distinction between, is this my resistance, or is this somebody that's trying to put resistance in my way?
Good point. Because in the book, Stephen Pressfield talks about it. He talks about how when others in your personal life see you starting to fight back against the resistance, like and starting to live your like true self or your true whatever calling, then they will like start to exhibit, jealousy, sadness, illness, attention-seeking behaviors. To kind of, and that's all brought on by their own resistance, because they're getting their ass kicked by resistance.
Right.
So they might as well project it.
Misery loves company.
Else. Exactly.
Yeah. And some people will choose to view your resistance like that. You'll have a whole spectrum of people that view your attacking your resistance in different ways. So it's like you'll have people like that, but then you'll have people that love you, that see you fighting resistance and growing and empowering yourself, and will give you more of that because they love you.
Right.
And we can't forget that side.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny because he talks about support in the book, and he's like, support is about as good as, support from friends in a difficult time is about as good as your friends being there on your deathbed. Yeah. He's like, what does he say? He's like, when the ship sails, what are they going to do?
Right.
It's not really, it's great to have people in your corner that are, that are rooting for you, but really the battle is kind of within.
Yeah.
It's within all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, I strongly recommend everyone go check out that book. It's really shifted my thinking and life in a way.
Yeah. Well, I think I've listened to almost the whole podcast with him and Aubrey Marcus and Joe, and he's really amazing. And on Joe, like in so many different episodes, interviews, they talk about tribalism and the importance of community, and like that's what humans need to thrive. It's like in history, that's how we evolved, was through together solving problems.
Right.
Absolutely. And so, but there's like this, they talk about it like we need that again, but, and then every now and then they'll throw in the brakes about how, like, there was some study that, like, about the max population before entropy happens is about like 100 to 150. Like, that many people can sustain a balanced, happy existence, but when you start to get above that, shit starts to get weird,
right,
and disintegrate and fail,
right.
So what Pressman did was he talked a lot about the individual. He was like, we can't forget the individual. It's like, and this is what we learned through Reggio. It's like you have to empower each individual child, to create the society and reality that you want for the world.
Right.
But we don't talk about that. It's like, it needs to be paired. So like the understanding of tribalism, but with the understanding that the empowered individual is the basis for the success of the tribe. If everybody in the tribe is an empowered individual that has, reached their potential and can contribute and are happy, then yes, the tribal dynamic will make us thrive. But that's not the world that we live in. You know, it's like, that's not our priority to empower everyone to the point like where we have this massive tribe where everybody's just operating on a super high level.
Right.
So I think that's really, and that's very like Nietzsche is like, you know, become your own superhuman. You know, it's like what Joe says, be the hero of your own movie.
Mm-hmm.
So just the pairing of the individual empowerment with the tribe, I think I really loved that he brought attention to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really important. He also, going on with the individual, he talks about his experience in the Marine Corps. I think he was just like an editor or something. He did something. He didn't see combat.
Okay.
But he or at least I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. I don't think he saw combat. But he talks about what one thing that the Marines taught him to do, which none of the other branches of the military, he expressed this, none of the other branches really taught you to do, was to be happy being miserable. Like being able to like suffer and be okay with it. Like
it was an intention of the Marines.
And it was cool. Something that they reveled in.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got the coldest chow, you know. Oh, we've got the shittiest, you know, uniform, whatever it is. He was like, yeah, it's okay, whatever.
That's awesome.
Like that's how we survived. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. Just like as the individual being able to like endure suffering.
Yeah.
And in some way kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
It is, when you can be like that detached and like forfeit control to the point where no matter what's happening, you know, it's like, you know, Pearl Jam has this line in this song from their first album, I'll Ride the Wave Where It Takes Me. And like, I think about that every day. It's like, because it's about the path of least resistance. Like you're on the ocean, you have very little control, and you don't really have control. Just let go, you know, like the thing you sent me with Romero, right?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, you're Romero. Go.
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 Just go.
I have 2 hands. You have 2 hands. Go. Everything is possible.
Just go. Let's go.
I loved it.
Right?
Yo, Romero is such a gangster too, man. That guy, what a bad dude.
But he believes it. It's real.
I mean, when you see that little video and his eyes are steely, he's just straight on, just, yeah, just go.
Because he's excited for you, for the potential for you to go and do that, because he knows how awesome it is.
Because he's done it.
And that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Well, like I was saying too about suffering and, you know, being like you definitely experienced that climbing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you grab a hold that's like razor sharp and you're like, God, this sucks. But it sucks for a second.
Yeah.
Until you get to the next hold that might be a little bit better. Or maybe that one sucks too. And it's like, I got 3 or 4 of these to go through.
Right.
And then it's nice and comfy. And I'll feel so much better once I'm done with it. But like what Yoel said, just go.
Right.
You just have to go. If you're not on the rock, you can't get there.
Right.
And so anyway, yeah, let's, so we working with children.
Yeah.
And teaching them to understand this concept of resistance is something that is new to me and something that I'm just kind of dabbling with, I guess, with my daughter and trying to teach her. The other day I was listening to the book in the car and she goes, Dad, what's resistance? And I was like, well, it's this thing that keeps you from doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Or what you should be doing. And, you know, and we talked about examples, and we actually brought this up too in Superheroes, which, you know, it's like, think of some examples when you've got something to do, but you really don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to fight that resistance.
Yeah.
Give me an example. And one was go to bed.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to bed. Yeah, but you got to go to bed.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll be late for school in the morning. You'll be tired in the morning. There will be consequences.
Right.
So you just have to do it. And all the kids were like, yeah, I didn't want to go to bed, but I just did. And what did Saren say? Brushing her teeth. She's like, I didn't want to brush my teeth, but I did.
Yeah.
Great. And in those moments when I saw that, and Saren, you just beat up resistance, girl.
There you go.
You just punched resistance right in the face.
Yeah.
Like, awesome. Way to go. I'm proud of you, you know, because that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
It's also teaching delayed gratification, because the easy route is to, I want to watch my TV shows now.
Right.
No.
There's no later.
First you need to clean up your toys.
Right.
and then we're going to have dinner.
Yeah.
And maybe after dinner, you can watch something.
Right.
If there's time.
Right.
It's like, okay. And so, yeah.
I think one thing that I've learned is that the spectrum of resistance from kids is super varied. Like you have kids that won't resist anything, super passive. They'll do whatever you say, all the way to the other end where they will fight to the death, But it's like, I don't know if like new parents know how common like extreme resistance is and what it looks like.
Right.
Because, over the years, like parents have been surprised by their children's behavior. It's like, we've seen all kinds of behavior over time. Kids grow, things fade out, new things. So it's like we understand what is possible as far as like what a kid can throw at you for resistance.
Right.
That's
for sure. Yeah.
And if it's something they can't do, if it's something they won't do, it's like, so parents need to understand that these kids are super powerful little beings, that if they have a certain type of personality, they will resist to the point where you think that they need to go see a doctor, but they're just being a child, and it's the parent's responsibility to like explore the dynamic with their child. So the resistance isn't scary. So they know how to, like, that's their resistance. So it's like the kid's resisting, but then the parent becomes aware of their own resistance for connecting with their child.
Right. And as a parent, recognizing your own resistance in those moments is really powerful. Because it's like, I mean, I'll just, I'll be like, oh, I'm just tired. I don't feel like riding bikes or whatever, but it's like, dude, there it is. There's that resistance. What should you be doing?
Right.
Be a good dad. Go get out there with her.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take the easy way. I'm not going to let resistance beat me.
Right.
Even though I'm tired.
Right.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
Maybe I'll set a time limit. There'll be a time limit, but that's fair.
Right.
And then we've all got a little out,
Yeah. And you have to decide what the balance is between, like you work hard, sometimes you need to rest, and you can have a balance with your kid, but you always love them and your priority is for them to experience life and help them, grow and, but sometimes parents need to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, the other night, Sarah and I were talking about this concept more. I mean, just, naturally. And where did I have to go? I had to run an errand. It was, getting close to like dinner time. And I got to run out to the store really quick. I forget what I had to do. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I had to go, and Sarah was like, well, while you're gone, can I watch a show? Can I watch TV? And I said, well, what do you think that is? Do you think that wanting to watch the show, like, do you think, what else could you be doing? Like, is that, could that be a form of resistance? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, what else could you do? That's maybe a little bit better for your brain. And she was like, well, I could play with that kinetic sand, or I could, do some painting. And I was like, those are things that will make your brain stronger. I was like,
yeah,
that's way better for you, and that is you fighting resistance. You're using your creativity to think of something else that you can do, other than just turn your brain into mush watching Sophia or whatever. Like,
sure.
And so she has recognized that, and I mean, in the last few days, it's been interesting. She's been like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't need to watch that right now. I can think of something else to do.
Cool,
that's better for me."
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, this kid's 6. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just keep that up.
Right.
Like, having that awareness now. I mean, and it's only been this week, really, that we've been discussing it. But, like, continue that, please. Like, that will lead her into a lot of healthy choices through life. No, I was just really impressed that she was able to do that,
Absolutely.
Rather than be like, no, I just want to watch TV.
Right. And sometimes TV is important, like things can be soothing and familiar, but it's not an opportunity for you to be creative. So anything else, if your child's doing something that requires creativity, then that's different than them watching TV for any other reason.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what builds that brain. I mean, like, that's what builds those synapses and that wiring, that they just do that forever.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that'll keep them healthy and happy. That just like being able to work and use their creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that can have like positive effects for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
You know, like they just ask themselves the question, like, well, what should I be doing?
Yeah.
Like, and I do that to myself all the time. And I've had ridiculously productive days since I've really started paying attention to this concept.
Nice. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, I know what I should be doing, and if I am not doing it, I know I'm getting my ass kicked.
Right.
And I don't like to get my ass kicked. So
by you.
By myself. Yeah. And by this resistance, this thing that, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, what was it? I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast with I think it was Cody Garbrandt. He's an MMA fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a very interesting take on the similar theme, kind of about resistance, and maybe it was Corey. It was Corey Sand. What's his name? It wasn't Cody Garbrandt. It was Corey Sand. Oh, I can't remember his name now. Anyway,
let's call him Corey.
Yeah, Corey. Yeah, I think it was Corey. Cody. Jesus, now I can't. Anyway,
who gives a fuck? Just tell the story.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, he said that he names the different voices in his head.
Nice.
That tell him to do, you know, like just screw off, whatever. And he's like, oh, that's just Daniel. You know, he's like, fuck Daniel.
Right.
And it's like,
yes.
All right. Right on. Like, you know, old Scott would have been like, hey, you know what? Why don't you just sit down?
Yeah.
You don't need to do that right now. No. Fuck that guy.
Right.
I'm doing it. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, now, I just thought that was an interesting kind of how he's got like, he said he had like a bunch of different names for these different.
There's a lot of emotions. And
he just. Like, oh, Phil, not today, Phil.
Right.
No, son. Like,
whatever can put you in a position where you can be objective about you.
Yeah.
Like, self-actualization and enlightenment are about being totally objective. You're detached from anything that's you. You're just light. You're just soul, right?
Right.
So giving him a name, like, you know, just like, I totally get that. Like, Katie and I were talking about this yesterday, and about ego, and when you said that, it's like resistance is like ego's blood. Like ego's a master of resistance.
He goes into that in the book. Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
And so we were talking about it, and I was like, I like to think about my ego like a child, you know, the way I would facilitate a child, because I have to get to a point of non-judgment, even about my own ego, you know, so I can understand it and step back from it and not give it power, you know? And that's the trick. It's like, you know, scanning you and identifying the different types of resistance and knowing where to put your energy and where not to put your energy. And once like this code starts to like become clear, then the path of least resistance starts to accelerate and you get closer to being happy you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Where all the things on the path just start flowing and happening the way you always wanted them to, but before you could objectify your ego, you couldn't make it happen.
Right.
I think there's one left. Somewhere in there.
Oh, little girl. Sweet fiend.
Yeah.
Resist.
Exactly, right? And so, and the thing I like, because I've just been floored by my ego, like what my ego can do to me and make me think, you know? And I was like, my ego has impressed me, not with like the ravenous, you know, desire to give me everything that I want, you know, like anything that I want that's material or, you know, visceral. But the most amazing thing my ego has done has prevented or provided me with resistance to certain things in the most calm way, where I'll feel like I'm calm, but I'm still not doing what I really know I should be doing. But my ego has presented this feeling and this facade to still try to get me to resist and do what my ego wants.
Right. Okay.
So like
Stephen Pressman would probably say that that's just resistance, because resistance uses rationalization.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand, because it can rationalize.
Yeah.
Why you should give in to resistance.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying.
I'm being objective about that process.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Your ego can make you think you're being rational.
There you go. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. And I equated that to like kids with like super fucked up behavior, kids that are really hard to work with and acclimate to a classroom. The first step is not judging them.
Right. Okay.
And then you can engage with them and actually help them find a path.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like thinking about your ego like a child and like loving it and marveling at its amazing skill set is a really good step in becoming objective about it.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. But just like the thing, like fuck you. You're not going to do that to me. Like how many personalities you need to identify and give names to before you get there.
Yeah.
Because it's a great tool.
It was interesting. I was like, this guy's had some coaching in this realm, it seemed like.
Yeah. Or a lot of life experience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And a lot of messed up things, and he refused to give up.
Corey Sandhagen. That's his name.
There we go.
I'm pretty sure that's it. Sandhagen. Yeah. He's a bad dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had this idea too, or you had this idea, just getting through fear. Fear is resistance in the one of the truest forms, I guess. Like, you want to start a new business. Oh God, that's going to be scary, right? You're going to face a ton of resistance. Basically anything you care about that's super important to you, resistance is going to be, you're going to be fighting a ton of it. If it doesn't matter that much to you, then there's not much resistance. And it only works in a way that is negative. Like, what does he say in the book? He's like, you're not going to be like working for the Mother Teresa Foundation and then decide to start a career in telemarketing. He's like, resistance is going to give you a pass on that one. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because there's not going to be much resistance to go do that, right? So
right.
To go backwards the other way. Which I thought was right on.
Absolutely.
So fear and that feeling of, oh God, this is scary.
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to make this happen? I mean, and that tells you. That fear is telling you exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Like, that is the thing you need to do.
Yeah.
And this, this isn't about, this is not the kind of fear like, oh, I need to jump out of an airplane.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's part of something that you need to do for yourself. But,
yeah.
To accomplish your life's work.
Yeah.
And what is really, truly important to your soul, then you need to engage that fear and engage that resistance.
Absolutely. And I think in your life, you start to understand the variations of fear and how to deal with them. Because like the skydiving thing, it's like, you've paid money, you've chosen to do this. Like, it might be scary. The resistance is all in your head. It's like, am I going to do this? Just do it or whatever. Don't do it.
Right.
Are you going to be able to recover from it? Do you care? How much do you care?
Right.
It's like, but like, if like your life, since you were a kid, you wanted to own your own bakery or whatever you wanted to do. And like, you keep getting pulled that direction, then that's resistance that you want to head into that fear and go after. But I think this is where a lot of energy gets wasted and why we have so many problems that are interconnected and just so many big problems is because so much energy and time is wasted on people not knowing what they need to put their energy into. Listening to other people, not using their own executive functioning and their own confidence to make their decisions, to know what resistance to fight.
Right.
because sometimes resistance you can just ignore and walk away from. You don't even have to give it any attention.
Right.
And that can be like things that like people in your life that are very big and scary and put a lot of resistance towards you. Mm-hmm. Just a simple like twist of mindset can like make that resistance not even applicable anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could be something even like standing up to a bully or standing up to someone who,
Yeah.
There's tons of resistance there.
And it's hard for nice people to know that, because mean people take advantage of nice people, and nice people don't know when to fight what kind of resistance.
Right.
And like that's one of the reasons I love working with kids so much, is because that's what we try to teach them. Mm-hmm. We try to instill in them an awareness of when they're being taken advantage of, and when they're being oppressed. Mm-hmm. and how to see it coming and how to deal with it. Like that's what we want to teach them like before 5.
Right.
So it's hardwired so they're not manipulated and taken advantage of their whole lives.
Right.
I don't know where I was going.
No, it's vital. Yeah. Oh yeah, getting through fear via fun.
Yeah.
So how can you turn those, those scary moments, or even just like, those moments where you have that resistance to do it. Like for instance, okay, Saren just had her birthday. Mm-hmm. She's not the biggest fan of writing, but she's got to write thank you cards. Mm-hmm. And so I set a number that we have to get done today. Mm-hmm. Here's your work that you need to do. This is your work. Right. This is something that is kind and something that is, that is shows good manners, and something that is you need to do.
Right.
And so she has her work. She knows it. The resistance is there. I don't want to write it. My hand's gonna get tired. I hate doing this. Blah blah blah. But let's make it fun. Mm-hmm. How can I make this thing that she's really not psyched about and experience a ton of resistance about doing? How can I make it a bit more fun? Well, okay. Well, first of all, I'm not going to make her sound all the letters out, all the words out. I'll write the words for her on a whiteboard. Mm-hmm. She can copy them down.
Nice.
And whatever throughout, just throughout the letter, like I'll like peek over. What do you got? Oh my gosh, you're like 10 words in. Holy, like just super silly. Just like, wow, that you keep going, girl. I can't believe you're that far ahead. Yeah. Look at you. And so she's like, yeah, it's not so bad. A little bit of confidence comes in, and then it's like a little bit more fun, and it's not such a big deal. And we practiced. Oh, what do? We did. Oh, my hand gets tired. Let's do shake it out. Let's shake it out. Shake it out. Up, to the side, down. Like, shake it, girl, shake it. And, just made it fun.
Yeah.
And that kind of just dissolves some of that resistance.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
Still there. Still would rather be doing something else.
Yeah.
But the work is getting done.
Is it confidence or physical? Like, is it literally like,
I think
the expending the energy, or is it she's not sure about it yet, so it's not fluid, so there's like
it could be a little bit of both at this point. I think like honestly, motorically, her fingers are just like, she's not writing as much, as she should be, I guess. Kind of should be.
I think they get tired.
Yeah.
No. It's hard.
No, I remember. Yeah. I remember freaking gosh, what do we have to take to be certified in the state? You had to, you handwrite the essays at the end of the to these questions, and I remember just being like, just burning through pencils and being like, oh my god, my hand shaking out, like just being just tired. And I was like, yeah, I know what you feel like, I know, but do this. Let's shake it. Let's make it silly. Let's, just have a little fun with it. Or every third word she writes, I go, holy moly, fall out of the chair.
Right.
Whatever. She cracks up and keeps on trucking.
Right.
That's just one example how we turned.
And it's a great example.
Just, thanks.
Because then, like, if it's a confidence issue, like kids tying their shoes, or kids have a million different things that they could not be confident in, that they know or perceive that they're going to have to do or have to learn, and they're hard.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No. And what Stephen Pressfield says in the book, he doesn't mention that Well, yes, no, he does. He does, because he talks about starting. Starting is where you will experience a ton of resistance.
Yeah.
Just actually sitting down to do the work. But he also talks about how, like, resistance is the strongest when, or you'll experience the most resistance when the finish line is in sight. And so it's like when it's almost done, like your novel is almost finished. You feel like it's almost there, but you never write the last chapter, or you never write the or your what's another example I can think of? I mean, any kind of artistic endeavor, like, or entrepreneurial endeavor, like, you're what's a good one? You can come up with one, like anything, like just
anything where any job is finished 90%.
Right, it's almost there. You're so close, 95%.
It's how Katie thinks I fix everything. 90%.
And
it's like 97.
I've been guilty of that too.
Right. Some shit can wait, man.
Hey, yeah. But that is when you experience the most resistance.
Right.
Like, just push through. We're almost done, and then
Right.
you'll be psyched and be happy, and can move on to the next project. And,
Right.
So yeah, no, that's something interesting for y'all to think about.
Well, it is. It's so cool. It's like the pot of gold. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Hi, thank you. I got my green on.
That's right. Faith came up and pinched me earlier, and I was like, I have a green tattoo.
Ah.
So,
Back at you, girl.
and now I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, so it's like you have this pot of gold of confidence that's waiting for you if you finish. You've put all this work and effort and time and energy, and if you finish it, then you get to level jump. You get to apply the confidence to your existence and move up from there. You don't go lateral or backwards.
Right.
But you have to do it to get there.
Yeah.
And then the more fluid you get at that process and the more things you don't leave uncompleted, then it just starts to flow.
Right. Yeah, and you're getting shit done.
Done.
And that feels good.
Then it gets easier to get it done.
Yeah.
And instead of one thing, you get 6 things done. You get 10 things done.
Exactly. And then you just go to the next one on your list. Yeah, that's cool. That was another thing that he talks about in the book about, like, his daily life. Like, he'll start off each week with, like, because he's a writer, of, like, things he's got to get done. Like, just blam, 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 blam. This has to be done. This, and then he'll type it up on, like, corporate stationery and make it look professional, because if you're not treating yourself and your work professionally, then you're an amateur. And you're not doing it for,
But you have to have the confidence as an amateur to see yourself as a pro. To do it, like, you have to have this grandiose sense of self, which is one of the characteristics of a narcissist.
Right.
But you have to believe in yourself to the point, like Romero, you have to believe it.
We lost a camera. Hold on.
Oh no. You have to believe it to do it. So it's like this paradox that people have to understand. Like, you have to have confidence in yourself to do something, even though you don't know that you can do it, and maybe you don't have the confidence to even think that you can do something like that. Like anything. Like, you going to school. Like, you had to have confidence in yourself to be like, I can go to grad school and get this degree. I could put the energy. I know I can do it, even though you hadn't done it before. But you had to, like, believe in yourself to that point. Like, I'm so badass that I can go get a grad school degree, which most people don't do. And that's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We had a small little camera deal. Yeah, and it's
and a teacher's job is to, like, really, like, baseline Reggio, know your kids, get to know your kids. And this is one of the reasons why. So you can know them and authentically identify passions in them that you can help them grow. So they can start working and solidifying this process before the age of 5. Like, I knew this one kid that was super delayed across the board. Very few people had any kind of belief in him at all. And he just was another, lifer, which was all bullshit. It was all bullshit. And I noticed that the way he drummed, the way he hit his hands like drums was more rhythmic and instinctual and natural than any other kid I'd ever seen. So, and then like get him a drum set, let him do what he's naturally good at.
Right.
And then build from there, So it's like, and all kids have things like this. Every single kid, even a kid, even kids, you can't visibly see it. Just get to know them and you will find something that they are exceptional at.
He says the same thing in the book.
Really?
About like some John Lee Hooker.
Yeah. Blues.
Boogie chillin'. Yeah. There's a line he says. I mean, I've only listened to the book like 1,000 times. So like he says, like there's a line. There's like Papa said to Mama, "You got to let that boy boogie woogie because he's got it in him and he's got to get it out," or something like that. He's like, well, exactly.
Yeah.
There it is. Like you just know your kid, recognize what it is that makes them tick, and encourage that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're going to face resistance their whole life, like you said, in everything. And the other side of it is that what we talk about a lot is the external world and everything that's trying to be provided to you through social media, through corporations, through technology, through everything. Everything out there is trying to provide you with resistance to finding your true self to a point where you don't need them.
Right. And
at the same time, deceptively beautiful, like the ego, making you think you need these things.
Right.
Like not being resistant, not looking like resistance.
Oh yeah.
Looking
it's
like
so
ease.
Sneaky. It's so sneaky.
It's so sneaky.
Especially these days with social media. I mean, what should I be doing with my time? Like, should I be editing that video from our trip to the island? Which will take hours and I'll get lost in the moment, which is something that actually I should be doing because I freaking love it.
And it's for Saren.
And it's for my child and for posterity and for the future, for everything.
So it has high value.
Huge value. Or should I be like looking at Instagram? I mean, I could just scroll through Instagram for like 5 hours.
Yeah, but there's boobs on Instagram.
Well, yeah, geez.
That are always there.
Dang it, I know.
And that's by design.
Wait, you get boobs on your Instagram?
I don't have Instagram anymore.
Okay.
Because of that reason.
I don't get boobs.
Check this out. I mean, but anything.
I need to make different friends. Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, it is, and it's they're those companies have figured out how to use resistance as a addictive force and for their gain,
because they use your information
and
to know what you resist,
yeah,
and give it to you,
yeah, yep,
whether it's food, alcohol, sex,
yeah,
anything,
yeah,
shopping,
right on, cameras. God damn it, B&H, always popping up with the ads.
And that's the thing. It's like
a sweet new lens.
They're giving you the slippery slope. They are putting your feet, slicking it with lube.
Exactly.
Slide down it. We don't give a fuck. We just want your money and your attention and your time and your soul.
And you're gonna slide farther away from the work that you should be doing.
That's right.
And yeah.
But knowing that,
but now being cognizant of that, then it's like, okay, I can put this down.
You make choices. Yes.
Exactly. Or there's gonna be a time. I'll set a limit or whatever. Same thing with drinking. It's like, okay, I'll have 2. That's it.
Yeah.
When something's like, hey, have another drink after the second one, it's like, that's resistance.
Yeah.
That's resistance being like, hey, you shouldn't do that.
If you know that's your limit and you know that you can function at a certain level after that choice, and you've made that commitment to yourself, that's absolutely wonderful. And that's the difference between an alcoholic and a normal person.
Yeah. It's fun. It's very fascinating to recognize this entity in moment to moment decisions.
Yeah. And I can see why it gets so dark for people, because like this is complicated stuff. Like self-awareness is not benign. Right. You know, it's like if you've had bad things happen to you, if you're not happy, if you're alone, like who knows? Like life can be very hard. You know, it's like, so knowing what to do and knowing what to fight and like being okay, like this is really hard stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And that's why it's so hard to start empowering them early, so they don't get to that point, because it's never going to not be there.
Right.
And it's only going to get easier and more efficient, and try to take their attention away from doing something that truly makes them happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you also have to know when, like you said, like the limit, like, you know, I can do this for this amount of time. Like I should do this. Like, right. It can be fulfilling and therapeutic and like different things, but you have to be aware of how hard it is and how many things are trying to stop you from doing that.
Yeah. And then, like Yoel says, go.
Just go.
Just go.
It can be as easy as that.
Exactly. It is. Just go. Everything is possible. Love that guy.
It's great.
Well, gee, we've done 46 minutes. That flew by.
Nice.
We're not, I think this is probably about the time we should try to hit for.
Sure, man.
And I know we'll continue this discussion about resistance and in the Reggio classroom and with children and with yourself, and
it was a good talk.
Day-to-day life. Yeah, it's been ridiculously impactful last couple of weeks for me.
Yeah.
So, sweet. Everybody check out that book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield.
Yep.
Visit us at www.awakeneducationllc.com.
That's right.
And on YouTube at 2 Reggio Dudes. And
it's so cool.
And catch us on all the other podcast things.
Happy St. Patty's.
Happy St. Patty's, everyone.
Yeah.
Listen to the resistance. Don't drink 17 pints tonight at the pub. All right?
That's right.
Maybe cap it at 3.
Right.
Take an Uber home. You'll thank yourself in the morning.
You have choices.
You do have choices. And you'll feel that resistance in the morning if you don't.
I'm so glad I don't have hangovers anymore.
I know, right?
They're just the fucking worst.
Yeah, terrible.
Especially the older you get.
Hey, no good.
Yeah.
Waste of time. All right.
Yeah, man.
Thanks all you millions out there. We love you.
Bye.
See you. Reggio do.